Hello and welcome to the South Indian. We're getting some breaking news in what is seen to be a big relief for former Chief Minister of Karnataka, B.S. Yediyurappa. The Karnataka High Court has ordered not to arrest him after the former Chief Minister told the court that he would appear before the police on 17th of June. Earlier, reports had indicated that BSY, as he's popularly known, faces arrest in the POCSO case filed after a 17-year-old girl accused him of sexual assault. That's the story that we are getting on the former Chief Minister of Karnataka, someone who seemed to have actually established and also revived the Bharatiya Janata Party in Karnataka. This is big. The Karnataka High Court has ordered not to arrest Yediyurappa after the former Chief Minister told the court that he would indeed appear before the police on 17th of June. Earlier reports had said that BSY faced arrest in the POCSO case filed after a 17-year-old girl had accused him of sexual assault.
Brought to the notice of the court that the issue itself was as long as 2-3 months ago. And all along he has cooperated with the investigation. What is so hurry that right now they want to arrest? Those substantial grounds were not made out for arrest at all. And this issue of taking a warrant from the court raised serious doubts about their intention. So therefore, the liberty of Mr. Yediyurappa is today protected. No coercive action has been ordered. And he will take part in the investigation as well.
Discussion about the lady's the intention, because there are several cases was filed by the lady, and looks like there is a political vendetta as well in this case.
Now there are two parts of it. We had brought it before the court as well. That one, the malafides as far as the complainant lady itself is concerned. The second, the intention of the present government. Both the things weighed in the mind of the court, and they have put on hold any coercive action. As long as Mr. Yediyurappa is cooperating, I don't see any reason for arrest.
Do you feel?
For those who've just joined us, big relief for former Chief Minister of Karnataka, B.S. Yediyurappa. The Karnataka High Court has ordered not to arrest Yediyurappa after an arrest warrant was issued against him yesterday, because the former Chief Minister has now told the court that he would indeed appear before the police on 17th of June. Earlier also he was sent summons, but he could not appear because he said that he had some prior travel plans. However, now no arrest has been made because he has now said that he will appear before the police on 17th of June. Earlier reports had said that BSY faces arrest in the POCSO case filed after a 17-year-old girl had accused him of sexual assault. Let me also add that the mother of the minor who had accused the former Chief Minister of Karnataka of sexual assault passed away recently. The young girl, of course, has an uncle in her family, and the case is now being taken forward. We'll have to wait and see what happens to this particular case once Mr. Yediyurappa, BSY as he's popularly known as, appears before the police on 17th of June. That's the big story that we are tracking at this hour. From Karnataka, on your screens right now, B.S. Yediyurappa, former Chief Minister of Karnataka. Yesterday an arrest warrant was issued against him, but today he got a big relief because the court said not to arrest him after he promised or told the court that he shall indeed appear before the police on 17th of June. This is a POCSO case against former Chief Minister of Karnataka, who is in his 80s and made by a 17-year-old girl who had accused him of sexual assault. The mother, of course, had brought to the notice of the authorities first, but after that the mother has subsequently passed away, I think a couple of months ago, and the young girl now is being supported by other relatives to see that she gets justice if the allegations happen to be true in this case. And coming up, our next story, the farewell to the departed in the Kuwait inferno. It's one of the most poignant moments ever. That's what we are talking about. Farewell to the departed. We pay our respects to those who lost their lives. The environment at the Kochi International Airport was somber as the bodies of 45 Indian workers who lost their lives in a tragic building fire in the Mangaf area of Kuwait at the crack of dawn on 12 June were brought home from Kuwait. Not only their families, but every onlooker had their eyes filled with tears, almost looking devastated by the line of coffins which carried the mortal remains of the dead.
The moment our government got to know that such a tragic incident has happened, the Prime Minister immediately convened a meeting and instructed us to reach to Kuwait immediately and take all possible steps so that the mortal remains can be sent back as soon as possible, because that's the least that we could have done. So we reached Kuwait, and the Honorable Prime Minister had already spoken to the authorities there, to the Foreign Minister there, and to His Highness the Emir there. And I would like to say my thanks to the authorities that they did all possible they took all possible measures, and they really fully cooperated in having all the paperwork completed, the identification done in such a short time, because normally this could have taken a week or at least 10 days. But on Prime Minister's insistence, the authorities were very quick about it. They immediately undertook the task of completing the formalities, and we managed to bring back the bodies here as soon as possible. We also visited 5 hospitals where there were around 32 to 35 patients who were being treated of Indian origin who were injured in that fire. And we spoke to them individually, we inquired about their health, and all the hospitals and the directors were there. And I would also like to thank the hospital staff of each hospital that exceptional care is being taken by the hospital staff and the doctors of those patients. And most of them are likely to be discharged in a couple of days. The Kuwaiti government is taking this incident very seriously, and they're taking all possible steps. They're making inquiries as to how it happened, so that this kind of a tragic incident is never repeated again. And they assured us that they will take all possible steps. They have also assured us that all the paperwork regarding the insurance that is to be paid to the families, the compensation, will be done as immediately as possible. And His Highness has also, from his part, also provided a compensation to the families of the victims who have perished in this tragic incident.
A special aircraft of the Indian Air Force landed in Kerala's Kochi International Airport today and handed over 31 bodies of workers from 3 southern states, Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. It then left for Delhi with the remaining 14 bodies. The 31 bodies were then sent to their homes in ambulances.
നമ്മുടെ സംസ്ഥാനത്ത് സാധാരണഗതിയിൽ പ്രവാസ ജീവിതത്തിനിടക്ക് വലിയ പ്രതീക്ഷയോടെ കാത്തിരിക്കുന്ന കുടുംബങ്ങൾക്ക് ഒരിക്കലും തീരാത്ത രീതിയിലുള്ള നഷ്ടമാണ് സംഭവിച്ചത്. ഈ ദുരന്തമുണ്ടായ ഉടനെ കുവൈറ്റ് ഗവൺമെന്റ് ഫലപ്രദമായും ശക്തമായതുമായ നടപടികൾ സ്വീകരിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട് എന്നാണ് മനസ്സിലാക്കുന്നത്. ആ ഗവൺമെന്റിന്റെ തുടർ നടപടികൾ കുറ്റമറ്റ രീതിയിൽ ഉണ്ടാകുമെന്നാണ് നാം എല്ലാവരും പ്രതീക്ഷിക്കുന്നത്. ഇത്തരമൊരു ദുരന്ത വിവരം അറിഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ ഇന്ത്യ ഗവൺമെന്റും ശരിയായ രീതിയിൽ തന്നെ ഇടപെട്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്.
It is a tragedy without no parallel, the modern history of Kerala. As you know, Kerala is a state where most of our people go abroad for their daily living. And Kuwait is one of such countries. Today we have lost so many of our fellow brothers to this tragedy. I hope the government of Kuwait will take the necessary action against the culprits of this even or maybe the people who are behind this accident, and they will provide the compensation to the family. And it is indeed a matter of concern that so many of our brothers have lost their lives during this time. And I hope it will not repeat again. So the government has to take the necessary action. Government of India also has to take the necessary action that our people get accommodated in places where there is safety, where there is the necessary precautions to prevent such an action, prevent such an accident. I hope and pray that all the families get solace from Almighty, and I offer my condolence to them.
Some very heart-wrenching stories are coming out of those who lost their lives to the inferno in Kuwait. Early hours of 12th of June, some of them were not even aware because it was early morning. I'm going to tell you some of these stories. Let's pay our respects and also say farewell to them. Umaruddin Shamir, a native of Kollam, was to return to his hometown and lay the foundation stone for a home that his family had dreamt of. Then there was 48-years-old Lukos from Kollam, who spent more than 18 years in Kuwait and worked in NBTC, the same firm, the building of which caught a fire. Most of them were working with this firm, NBTC. Now, Lukos worked there for almost a decade. Lukos is survived by 2 daughters. A young mechanical engineer called Srihari Pradeep from Kottayam was on the 6th floor of the ill-fated apartment building. His body was identified by the tattoo marks on his wrist. Like I said, these are some of the stories which make you feel that life is so uncertain. The fire, as you know, broke out on Wednesday at a residential building in Mangaf city of Kuwait, where 176 Indians worked as well as lived. Kuwaiti authorities said that 50 people were killed in the fire, including 45 from India and 3 from the Philippines. Also, some say that some Nepalese had also lost their lives. 2 bodies, therefore, remain to be identified, and I hope it's not the bodies of those we think it is. According to the initial probe report, likely short circuit on the ground floor could be the reason. Also, 24 gas cylinders which were stocked on the ground floor. Fire spread rapidly because of inflammable materials. Paper, cardboard, plastic was used as partitions. Workers staying in cramped rooms. Smoke following fire in ground and upper floors. Door to the rooftop was locked, which makes escape impossible even if someone wanted to escape. Changes made in the building for extra space hindered access for firefighters.
We have, embassy has not yet declared the number of the injured persons who are being treated in the hospitals. So this is unofficial information that we collect from our people there and through the NORCA. So around more than 30 people are there, and also 7 are in ICU, out of which 4 are from Kerala. Yeah, and that too, it's not, and may not be the exact data. This is the data we collect from the people there, our people there, and also through the NOCA cell. Yes. See, the incident is quite unfortunate. So all these things, like what has happened, how it has happened, the Kuwait government is doing the investigation, and the legal actions are being taken, and also after the investigations, definitely they will take the action. Yes.
No, it's very unfortunate, tragic incident, but the central government and the External Affairs Ministry take up this issue very seriously, and very fastly all the procedures completed in Kuwait, and so all arrangements made by the External Affairs Ministry. I thank Shri Narendra Modi ji and the External Affairs Minister Shri S. Jaishankar ji for this immediate action. So Kerala lost in a big way. We will go to all houses, we will visit all houses and console the people, because this is a very tragic.
Those are the heart-wrenching visuals of coffins lined up at the Kochi International Airport. And let me tell you, cutting across party lines, we saw many politicians there in attendance. We saw V.D. Satisan, who is the leader of opposition. We also saw, of course, the Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan. We saw the Health Minister Veena George. And like I said, we also saw Suresh Gopi, who's from the BJP. Everyone there actually mourning for fellow Malayalis who lost their lives in the inferno in Kuwait. Family and friends gathered there, actually putting their heads. There you can see Veena George as well as Pinarayi Vijayan there, and behind him the man in a white shirt, that is V.D. Satisan, who is the leader of opposition. These are all perhaps political adversaries, but today, in the face of such a great tragedy, they are all together paying their respects to fellow Malayalis, workers who lost their lives in Kuwait. Now, 2/3 of the Kuwaiti population is made up of foreign workers, and the country is highly dependent on migrant labor, especially in the construction and domestic sectors. Human rights groups have regularly raised concern over their pathetic living conditions. It's been brought to the notice of several authorities. Let me give you a statistic. Almost there you have it on your screen right now. You know, so many people, Indians, work there, but the living conditions are pathetic. Sometimes no payment is made to them. There is no pay parity. They have to keep fighting for their rights. And I think the onus is on Kuwait to see that they improve on the living conditions of our men, our brothers and Indians who work there and send remittances back to their homes. Coming up next, Chandra Babu Naidu's first 5 decisions as Chief Minister. There you have it. This is a happy story. Chandrababu Naidu's first day, first show. You know, you may all ask me, why do I have that film clap there? Because Chandrababu Naidu has a very close connection with cinema. His father-in-law was NTR, the great actor turned politician. His brother-in-law is also an actor, of course, and his wife belongs to a film family. So what better way to say first day, first show? Babu Garu. This shall go down in Indian political history indeed as the first day, first show moment.
Nara Chandrababu Naidu ane nenu Nara Chandrababu Naidu ane nenu
You know, you saw the euphoria when he says Nara Chandrababu Naidu Nenu, which means me in Hindi, I. And you saw the kind of enthusiasm after paying his respects to one of his favorite gods, Lord Venkateshwara, at Tirupati Tirumala, where he was accompanied by his wife Bhuvaneshwari. It was time for CBN, as he is well known. He is known as Babu or CBN, to start work. There you have visuals of him at Tirupati, a god whom he really relies on. And also, let's not forget that he studied in Tirupati. He did his graduation and post-graduation in Tirupati. He is flanked by his wife Bhuvaneshwari, who is the daughter of N.T. Ramarao. N. Chandrababu Naidu assumed charge at his chambers in Block 1 of the State Secretariat at Velagapudi in Amravati at precisely 4:41 p.m. on Thursday, the 13th of June. He began by signing 5 files as promised to his electorate. The people who saw to it that he wins this election in both Lok Sabha as well as the assembly elections. The first file to ink was, of course, Amravati as the capital of Andhra, a topic which many say led to his win, as the people of the state are even today, even as we speak, bereft of a capital. Work on Amravati has begun apace, and it remains to be seen if Babu can face the huge financial challenge in setting up Amravati as a world-class green belt capital, which may require, we have to note the amount, more than 20,000 crores. The farmers, however, have heaved a sigh of relief as they had signed up their lands for a new state capital. What is the second file? Well, the second file that he signed was to notify a district selection committee, which is known as DSC, to recruit teachers. The DSC is likely to open around 16,347 teaching posts, which has made teachers really heave a sigh of relief as the previous government had delayed the issuance of the DSC notification. And you know what? Notification for 61,000 posts had faced rough weather, with litigations in court arguing that sufficient time was not given to candidates to prepare for the DSC, as it followed immediately after the teachers' eligibility test or TET. It is then that Chandra Babu stepped in and promised to issue the mega DSC notification within 60 days of coming to power. Within 1 day of coming to power, he's walked the talk. The next file Chandrababu Naidu focused on was scrapping the contentious Land Titling Act, which the previous YSRCP government had brought on 31st October 23. Babu and his party, even Janasena party, had raised this issue of how if this comes, then Jagan and his ilk would grab people's properties. And one saw how during the campaign, Chandrababu tore up land title passbooks printed with Jagan Mohan Reddy's image on them. People were very scared. They were paranoid that they will lose their lands. Naidu promised to annul the act and hence walk the talk once again. So on day one, like I say, first day, first show. What is the next important promise that Naidu fulfilled? It was the raising the monthly social security pensions from 3,000 to 4,000 rupees, as well as he had promised 6,000 pension to those who are physically challenged. The final and fifth file that he promised and he signed was clearing the Anna Canteen, a flagship scheme during TDP's tenure between 2014 and 19, when the poor could get an entire meal for 5 rupees. Jagan actually shut down the Anna canteens. So that's how day one looked for Chandrababu Naidu. And I'm sure that it will be more eventful going forward, considering he has to balance it out at the center, in the NDA government, and also in the state, which faces a plethora of challenges. Our next story is coming from Bengaluru. BBMP likely to be split on the lines of London governance model, but that's after a break. Just don't go away.
Helps beat sensitivity fast. Sensodyne Rapid Relief.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
How do you fulfill that promise? Because ultimately expectations have to be met. If you look at the political landscape, is it really changing for women? And what is the inability of the forces that dead bodies surface but not the living people?
There are beautiful golf courses, there are well-played golf courses, there are great greens. But I think we are a combination of everything.
Now, because of the nature-friendly atmosphere here, plenty of water, you can hear the birds. So lots and lots of birds live on this golf course.
every corner you have a different vista. You have the beautiful Sayadri range behind you, and it's just endless. It keeps going on and on and on and on. So I think no matter what floor you are, you're always slapped in the face by this most amazing view that takes your breath away for a second.
This and more. Streaming on News9 Plus. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
For the very first time in our investigation, we unmasked the killer of Ravindra Matre.
In 5G, we have to stand with the world, and in 6G, we have to lead the world.
Winning a Grammy was an absolutely surreal experience.
I always feel the first hurdle is the biggest hurdle.
The process is the fruit, and it's amazing.
When is the question, whether not is not the question.
If that were the case, man would have never reached the moon.
World premiere on the 15th of June, only on News9 Live.
Helps beat sensitivity fast. Sensodyne Rapid Relief.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी.
This is something which concerns a lot of people in Bengaluru, and also this is one pain point, if I may use that term. BBMP. Will it be divided? Will there be change? Let's find out. The one thing which is a recurring theme in India's IT city, Bengaluru, is the complete ineffectiveness and the eclipsing of elections to the Bruhat Bengaluru Mahanagara Palike, BBMP, which have been delayed by nearly 4 long years. And guess what? Most likely to be delayed further, as the government is working on a proposal to split the Palike. That's why I said BBMP divided. To split the Palike into 3 or perhaps 5 smaller corporations. The government, let me tell you, ladies and gents, so far has missed several deadlines to complete procedures required to conduct the polls. While delimitation was completed in September, in December, the Karnataka High Court had directed the government to notify reservation within a month, but that has been delayed because of the Lok Sabha elections, which of course happened. However, now, Chief Minister Siddaramaiah and his deputy, that is Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumar, are very firm that BBMP should be split to ensure better administration of the state's capital. So far, let me tell you, this is just an idea, and it's WIP, work in progress, as it is still not clear whether the BBMP would be split into 3 or maybe 4 or maybe 5 corporations. It needs to be added here that the government has been very impressed with the London model, which has 32 boroughs, each led by a mayor, while the city region elects a mayor who heads Greater London. The plan is to have a 3-tier governance structure with multiple corporations in Bengaluru, each led by a mayor in council, while the city elects a mayor to head the Greater Bengaluru Authority. In such a scenario, the city-level body will have more administrative control, some say. Will this really ease Bengaluru's multiple woes? Will it give people more authority to raise issues, or will it just be one cosmetic change and things will spiral back to what it is been? I have Sandeep Aniruddhan, convener of Citizens Agenda for Bengaluru, as a guest with me. Sandeep, very glad to have you, and I could think of no one but you because I've been reading about it for the past 2 or 3 days. The first question which I'll ask you, what I have raised it, will it just be a cosmetic change, or do you think something good will come out of it? I mean, they've not held elections for 4 years now, Sandeep.
Hi Sudha, good to see you again. Sudha, I don't think this announcement has any purpose. The only sole purpose is to delay the election as far as possible. And the The only reason for that is the political economy in Bengaluru is bigger than the government's economy, which is basically bribery, corruption, and all that. The MLAs don't want to share a pie of that corruption with corporators. That is another layer of corruption. So they want to keep away those and dominate the corruption. That's the only purpose, nothing else. If there's any logic to it, if they're saying they're so impressed with London's model of governance, what is the difference between what the London model of governance is and the 74th Amendment of our Constitution? It's the same thing. They have a Greater London Authority, we have the BBMP. They have 33 boroughs, we have 255 wards. The size of a borough in London roughly is the same as a ward in Bangalore. The population of a borough in London is much less than the population of a ward in Bangalore. A borough in London will have about anywhere between 5 lakh to
You know,
20
Sandeep,
lakh.
it's like saying that country has a democracy, we are also a democracy, but there are democracies and democracies. You know it and I know it.
We already have a democracy.
Yeah.
They also have a democracy.
Some people may say,
like
do
saying
we?
that-
Yeah. So the thing is that it's a type. You're a man, there are other men. I mean, we are all different, but we are all the same at one go. I want to ask you, hypothetically, Sandeep Aniruddhan, considering you have worked relentlessly to see to it that the situation improves in Bengaluru, every rain, every encroachment, I follow you very closely and I know exactly the Citizens Forum, everything. Just for the hypothetical thing, what they want to do, Sandeep Aniruddhan, is to decentralize it, right? Purpose is, let's decentralize it and let us see if these small corporations work better, so that every head is responsible for that vertical, to use a corporate term. Do you think if all things work well, if people are not corrupt, if everyone is committed, etc., do you think it's a good idea?
No, theoretically it is correct, the idea. But that already exists as a framework. Our present constitutional framework is to have a corporation which is, as per the Constitution 74th Amendment, it says you need to have a unified, decentralized and devolved city government. And also an autonomous planning authority, which is very important. Because what people are not talking about is this. London is great. It has a 25-year master plan. They have a long-term master plan. Singapore is great. It has a 50-year master plan. Ask everyone what master plan Bengaluru has. Our last master plan expired in 2015. We have a minus 10-year master plan.
Right.
We are going to the worst form of unplanned development. So, in every way, we are violating the framework which already exists. And we are saying, my wife is boring. Let me admire the neighbor's wife. They are the same. So
yeah, well, I'll let that pass. But I'm asking you that, the thing is that I'm asking you that even if you take it as, because see, why would Siddaramaiah was very committed to it even earlier. Now with DKS, really obsessed with brand Bengaluru. They are really now, a presentation has been made, Sandeep Aniruddhan, people have met, there is an expert committee. They say this is the only way. Because let me just bring to your notice one thing. We had rains in Bengaluru a couple of days ago. It was, people will say, oh, it's unseasonal, whatever. But Mr. Tushar, he said all the arrangements have been made. He said it in May. Nothing was done. The roads were, you put in visuals also of, sewer water getting into lakes and everything. Nothing works. So when nothing works in BBMP, is it okay to give a bit of, make a bit of changes to it the way it is, to see to it that it works better? I mean, I'm sure that it's pretty much like have 3 capitals for a state, legislative, executive and something else. You decentralize it. You don't want everything in one. But you say we have the 74th Amendment. But who cares about the 74th Amendment, Sandeep Aniruddhan? I don't think they even know it exists. What's the point?
So, Sudha, you're playing the devil's advocate, I can see. Okay, I'm joking. But actually, it's very simple. Whatever they are saying they want to do by copying London is what already exists in the 74th Amendment. The 74th Amendment talks about a city's 3-tier structure. The city government Below that, there's the ward committees, 255 of them, which can be expanded to 400 if they want. Nothing wrong with it. And then every ward has to have area sabhas at every polling level. There's a three-tier democratic setup already prescribed. Now, my question is this. That was passed in 1992. If they have the intent, you had 32 years to implement it. You have not implemented it. So, now you have this new plan. It's the same plan in new packaging. And then you will take another 32 years to prove that you won't implement that also.
Right.
If you can govern a single city government, how are you going to govern 5 city governments?
Okay.
It's just going to be worse.
Yeah, right. So the thing is that the committee has been there. The committee has been meeting off and on since 2018. You know it and I know it. There is when H.D. Kumaraswamy was the chief minister, he also sat. I don't know whether he extended the limits of the civic authority, etc., etc. Now the committee is still there, but nothing seems to have happened. So I am asking you, Sandeep Aniruddhan, what is the way out then? We need solutions. If you say, listen, Sudha, it's the same old dish. They are stirring it from the right to left. Now they are doing it from left to right. The dish is the same. There is no change in it. It's already existing. Why make a big song and dance about it? But why don't things work? Is the question that not only you ask, even Mohandas Pai has been writing about it on X. There are several IT officials who have said that everything comes to a standstill and you call this the IT capital?
It's a matter of intent. If the government wishes to do things under the existing framework, it can do it. The reason they don't get done is because there is no intention to do it. One, the politicians are only interested in making money. They are not interested in the city. Nobody cares about the city because they basically run it like a colony. Basically, after independence, the cities have got colonized by the state governments. That is the unfortunate situation where the state governments don't care about the city. They only want to squeeze out resources from the city because cities have bigger economies. That's all. Now, the committee that you're talking of, the Bangalore Restructuring Committee under B.S. Patil, the retired IAS official, it basically says implement 74th Amendment. That's all. The only additional thing they added to the pot was they said, okay, we will trifurcate it as well. It might help. But the point is, trifurcating, whether you have it as a single entity or if you trifurcate, it is not going to make a difference unless the government shows an ability to govern. Right now, for the last 30, 40 years, no government in Karnataka has shown the ability to govern. What I say is this, okay, if the government has a proposal, they're saying it's something new. Will you tell me something? If somebody has not passed 9th standard, will you allow them to study in 10th standard? Not possible, right? So, till the government doesn't implement the framework that exists right now and proves that we can run it efficiently, transparently, and diligently, then we shouldn't allow them to try anything else new. Let them prove this. Let them run the framework that exists in the constitution right now. Show that they can be constitutional, they can be statutory, they can abide by laws, they can enforce laws. Right now, Bengaluru is a lawless place. It's a wild west. Everything that's happening here is illegal. All constructions are illegal. Whatever the Bengaluru had, the natural resources, completely destroyed. It's over-concretized. It's crumbling. And they are sitting and talking about imaginary things.
Acha, Sandeep, you spoke about its lawlessness. There is construction which has no logic. Everyone is just building. They don't care. Now, what do you think about the self-declaration building plans? I find it slightly funny. They said there should be self-declaration building plan in which if any person intends to construct or reconstruct a building, he or she shall by way of an application should apply to the zonal commissioner for permission with all the necessary documents whether it can be constructed or not. I am sure this was there even earlier. Today it has been brought back into the conversation because they want BBMP to be divided and follow London. But what about this self-declaration things? It all looks beautiful on paper. But the point is, has it even worked in Bengaluru? I come to Bengaluru and I see that if I have to go to the opposite direction, it takes me 35 minutes in a car.
Whether it is self-declared or otherwise, it only matters if there can be rule of law in Bengaluru. There is zero enforcement. So what does it matter whether you have one or not? You look at statistics. More than half the buildings are being built without plan approval, which means under the present system, people have to take an approval. They don't take an approval, they just construct. And nobody is bringing down those illegal buildings. And those few who take building plan approvals violate it by 300 to 500%.
Oh my God.
What is the use of building laws if nobody is going to follow it?
Huh.
There is absolutely no authority. There's no moral authority for the government that exists.
All right. So, people who are watching this show, they may think that what is this? This is an eyewash. Because when you read this in major newspapers and you see this discussed on several platforms, you feel, okay, BBMP will be revamped, it will be divided, it will become more organized, so on and so forth. But according to you, Sandeep Aniruddhan, this is all there. The only thing is it's an eyewash because they want to buy time. Do they want to buy time to hold elections, Sandeep Aniruddhan? Because I think the BJP will now jump into it and say, oh, the Congress is very scared, it's delaying the elections. When the BJP government was there, the Congress had jumped on it. So they will keep jumping at each other. Do you think the real reason is that they don't want elections? And if so, why not, Sandeep Aniruddhan?
Let me tell you one thing, the BJP will not jump on this. They will not oppose it. Because all the MLAs are the reason it's not happening. The MLAs don't want corporators to exist as another layer of either oversight or corruption. So the BJP MLAs and Congress MLAs are together on this. You see, there will be no opposition from the BJP. I can bet my ass on it.
Let me tell you that they have objected. You should read the newspapers. They have objected and they've said, oh, this is delaying tactics by the Congress, etc. So let me tell you, bring you to, before I let you go, what about people's, I've spoken to Katyayani also many times, who's a very, very important activist who speaks about environmental encroachment and how Bengaluru is being ripped apart. She said, Sudha, what has happened is because there have been no elections for so many years, the citizens' participation has been cut down to size. We are now zero. We have no voice unless we as individuals can go forward and do something on our own. Is that right also, Sandeep?
Yeah, see, the constitution mandates that we have a three-tier system of government precisely so that there can be grassroots governance. Why should we have ward committees? That's the second tier. That's in our neighborhood. Further than that, it's also prescribed area sabhas at every polling booth so that people in every polling booth area have a representative structure. So the purpose of the constitutional amendment was to take grassroots to the governance. The state government doesn't like it because the state government likes to colonize the city. Forget about the area sabhas and the ward committees. They don't even want the city government. For the last 4 years, there's been no elections. Mind you, both have done it. When BJP was in power, they delayed the elections by 2.5 years. Congress has come to power and they delayed it by 1 year. Now they'll delay it for another 1 or 2 years, as much as possible, possibly for the entire term. So, our reading on the ground, the sense we get is that neither party wants to have cooperative elections because then the MLAs can have their eye on the entire political economy that keeps happening, which is a lot of corruption. All these illegal constructions creates a grey market of bribes because once you violate, you have to keep paying bribes to every official.
Yeah, so and every time it rains, we see people suffering, also getting onto social media and saying, oh, Bengaluru, you were a city of gardens, what has happened? So on and so forth. But I think, this is so sad to know, according to you, that this is just a cosmetic effort to make changes to the BBMP. Thank you so much, Sandeep Aniruddhan. I've completely run out of time, or else I would have taken this forward, because this involves all of us. And Bengaluru is a city on which we all used to take immense pride because it was called the Garden City, and also a city for most people who wanted a quiet life with clean air. But where is Bengaluru going? Even as we were speaking, a lot of people were messaging me and saying, nothing will happen, but we'll keep our hopes up. I'm sure something will come out of this. All right, as promised, I leave you with some of the other top headlines from the south of India. Thank you for watching. Vanakkam.
Delhi's water crisis isn't easing up. From heat wave and supply issues to wastage and blame game between authorities.